HTML tables allow you to structure data in a table format. So let's take a deep dive into HTML tables and see exactly how we can create them. How's it going, everyone? I'm Kyland, and here I like to make programming fun and easy to understand. So if that sounds enjoyable to you, make sure you slap the subscribe button and let's get right into it. So let's go ahead and create our file. We'll do app.html and we'll create our structure with our boilerplate. Now, an HTML table has quite a few different HTML tags that are all put together under one table tag. So let's check out the table tag first. So we'll just do table, just like that. And you can see it's got an opening and a closing tag. So inside of here, there's two parts to the tables. Just like the HTML document, there's a head and there's a body. So let's start off with the table head. So we're going to dothead, and it's a HTML tag, and this is where all of your head content is going to go. And then we have a th tag, which is your table header tag. This is where you're going to put the content of your header. So let's just say table header, just like that. And so right there, that is your basic table. Let's go ahead and open this up in our browser. So I've gone ahead and opened this up in my browser, and I've actually added a border around a couple of things so we can just more distinctly see what is what. You don't have to worry about that. We'll get to that eventually. But I've gone ahead and opened up my browser, and you can see we've got our table header right here. Now let's take a look at the table body and how we can make it. So now we're going to create what is called a sibling element. And a sibling element is basically just another element that is right next to another element. So the head and the body are sibling elements. So we're going to do the same thing with the table head and the table body. So right after the table head closing tag, it's going to be right on the same level as the table head. We're going to say t-body, just like that. And that's going to be the outer portion of our table body. And we're going to need to create rows, and we're going to need to create data. So we create a row with tr, so that stands for table row, and you will have however many columns in each row. So I can create inside of the tr tag what's called a td tag, and that's called a table data tag. And we can create multiple of those, and that will be inside of the tr tag. So let's go ahead and add data 1, data 2, and data 3. We'll go ahead and save that, and you can see that these are all in the same row. Now if I wanted to create another row, all I'd have to do is create a sibling element, another sibling element to the tr. So it's going to be on the same level as the tr. We're just going to create another tr, and we'll do the same thing. We'll create a td data 1, data 2, and we'll create data 3. Whoops, just like that. And you can see we've now created another row. So this is the first row right here, and this right here is the second row. And we can confirm that if we do 4, 5, and 6, you can see the second row, which is this one down here, is data 4, data 5, and data 6. Now, why does this one here, why is this one here bigger than the other two? Well, there's a simple reason for that, is because the table header is only in this very first column, so it's making that stretch that far. And the way that we can get around that is pretty neat. So let's tell the table head that we want to span all of the columns. So we've got 1, 2, 3 columns, right? So let's say call span 3. just like that. Now you can see that the table header spans all three of these columns, and these columns are now regular sized. They're all the same size as well. So that's how you can span multiple columns. And we can also do row span as well. So if we wanted to create, let's say we wanted to create one column over here that spans both of these rows. So let's go ahead and create it in our first table row. Okay, so we'll go ahead and create a fourth TD element, and we're going to name that data 7. It looks a little weird, but it'll make a little bit more sense here in a minute. So on the attribute, not inside of here, but inside of the opening tag, we want to say row span, and then we want it to span 2 rows. So if we save that, we can now see that this data 7 here is now spanning both this row and this row. And now, since we've added a fourth column, this header is only spanning these first 3. So let's go ahead and update that to 4. And if we save that, we can now see that the header spans all 4 of these columns. So I lightly brushed over it a little bit, but these are what's called properties or attributes. I usually just call them properties. These properties are going to come up everywhere in HTML. You'll probably put more properties than you will text. But these properties are the same thing as we did up here with the char set, but these are not self-closing tags. These have got data inside of them, and it's got a regular closing tag at the end. These properties will tell things about the element. So we can do things like classes, which we'll see here later, and IDs and names, stuff like that. Things that tell things about the tag. So the call span, it's telling that this right here, this tag needs to span 4 of these columns, and that's what we get over here in the table. And it's the same with this row here, this table data element, we want it to span 2 rows, and that's what we get over here in the table. Don't worry too much about the properties right now. We will go much deeper into them here in a little bit. But this seems to have gotten a little bit hectic here. We've got all these different tags in only just a short amount of time. Like, how are you supposed to remember all this? Don't worry, let's take a review and see what we have done here. So our first tag is the table tag. This is the outermost tag of your table, and it just tells that we have a table. And then inside of this tag, this table tag, we have 2 tags. We have the table head and we have the table body. And these 2 are what's called siblings. These siblings are just saying that they're on the same level. And inside of the table head, we have a table head element which spans 4 different columns. And we're telling it to span 4 different columns just like this. And then we have the data inside of the table head element called table header. Now inside of the table body element, you can see that the table body element starts here and ends here. So everything, all of this stuff is inside of the table body element. So the table body element contains these rows. These are these rows right here. And we've got these 3 rows on this, and we've got these 3 rows on this table row. And then we've got this 4th table data element, which is spanning 2 rows. It's spanning 2 rows. And it's got the data 7 inside of it. So that's tables in HTML. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments. I will always answer your questions. If you did like the video, make sure you slap a like on it. Make sure you check out the playlist. Link is in the description. Make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.